Hello and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I've built kind of another just standard family home, sleeps four, or I guess you could edit the bedrooms to make them contain more people, but this is the just basic house. I decided to build it off camera or without recording just because I'm still really new to YouTube. And I think that a 30-minute video would have been a little bit long. I'm trying to get people to actually watch my videos, not knowing who I am, so I don't want to make them super, super long. So I already had the outside structure built, but as you can see, that's pretty much all I have done. So I'm starting just from this kind of base structure. I am not usually someone who builds a bunch of family homes, but I think that's just kind of been the gear that I've been in for the past couple weeks, so I just figured I'd stick with it. I really am just trying to get more practice with building and building for YouTube as well, because it is very different, I found. But this time, at least, you will get to see my whole process, because my last video, I didn't start recording until the whole home was fully built and it was halfway decorated. So now you get to see my entire process of building rooms and everything. So hopefully it'll be entertaining for you, but I guess we'll see. So yeah, I'm starting off. I always like to do a big central staircase. When I think of, a family home that's kind of really warm and cozy, I tend to think of a, central staircase that the whole house is kind of built around. So that's kind of the way that I went with this. This placement of the second staircase that you can see that goes up to the attic, I scrapped it. This room on the left, the L-shaped room, just felt really weird, and I usually like a little bit more symmetry, so I decided to move that staircase, make it a bit more symmetrical. And it is a little awkward having two staircases going up to the attic, but not that awkward, so I thought it looked better. So the top floor is going to be pretty much just the bedrooms and obviously bathrooms. I do like to have usually a good bit of like empty or walking space in a build. So on the left is going to be the children's bedrooms, on the right is going to be the master bed and bath, and then the rest of it is just kind of open space. I know some people like to actually draw out their homes before they start building, and I've done that once or twice, but in general I think I like to just start with just an outside kind of structural shape and then kind of go from there. I think it actually does kind of leave my builds looking kind of similar if I don't really have too much of a plan going into it, because I guess I just have like a standard house shape in my head probably, but I think definitely for my next build I'm going to kind of stay away from that and maybe do a little bit more planning than I usually do. Okay, so here you can see I'm starting to pick the wallpapers. I really like the kind of just the standard wallpapers with the crown molding on the top and bottom. I find that they just look really nice, and I tend to, I don't know, I just like to have kind of a simpler wall pattern. I know some people like what is that, like, it's like a faded tree wallpaper. I don't remember which pack it came with. That's a really cool like wallpaper, but I just tend to just want to go for like a simpler standard color with some crown molding, so that I can kind of just be a little bit more creative with the decoration of the room, because I've found that if I have like a really busy wallpaper, that it kind of I don't know, I guess I feel like it kind of just locks me in a little bit to a certain style. But yeah, so I usually start with the kitchen when I'm decorating, just because I feel like a kitchen is the most central part of the house, even if it's not physically in the center. But I usually just like to start with the kitchen and kind of go from there. But as you can see, I'm kind of messing with some ideas. I didn't really like this, so I just wanted to keep it a little smaller, I guess. I like a nice big kitchen, and I haven't done one for YouTube yet, so I think in my next build probably I'm going to do a more modern home, and hopefully I'll have a nice big kitchen for that one. This is a good sized kitchen though. If I lived here, I would like this kitchen. Yeah, I really like these cabinets too. They're super pretty, and I would love to actually have cabinets like that. This living area, I tried to fit a fireplace, but I decided against it just because it would have made it a little too cramped. I actually really don't like this original design that I went with. I did keep the couches, but the rug that I ended up choosing, I came back to it and I was like, oh my god, why did I choose this? But I'm just kind of messing around with some ideas. I don't actually really know how much planning other people do when they go into a build, but for me, I kind of just go and like freestyle it a little bit. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm picking this like striped weird pastel color. I don't know, I don't really like it, but the dining room I think I did really well on. I love this table, I love these chairs. I decided against the blue because I was like too matchy. And now I'm going to move into the office. I still, like my last build too, I have like a kind of smaller home office, which, I mean, I feel like most homes don't have a home office in the first place. So I guess I shouldn't really be like whining about a small home office, but I really do like to have a nice big library most of the time. But this is, again, like more realistic. So I kind of just went with this because I figured that that's what would actually exist in a real home rather than like a giant library. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, I tend to kind of go through and do like the first couple pieces of furniture in each room just to kind of get a feel for like the orientation and like what kind of style I want to go for each room. I'm sure, as you noticed, I left the other previous rooms that I just did really kind of bare, just to kind of get a little bit of a style in. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, just kind of like figuring out what I want a little bit, just so that I have something to kind of go off of decoration-wise. Okay, so now we're going to move into the kids' rooms. Kind of same thing, just the rough furniture. I was going to do 2 separate doors into the shared bathroom, but that was really cramped, so I decided to just do one coming from the hallway. That way also it's accessible if there's like a guest staying or whatever. A lot of the time when I'm decorating children's rooms, if I'm doing more than one, I kind of like to do actually the same furniture, but just in like different styles as kind of a base. So you can see I use this bed. I think that's from the Parenthood pack. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is, but I like to kind of just do that so that the rooms are similar, because I feel like if it were an actual family, you would be buying your kids' beds at the same time, and you would kind of, you know, be building a room around these beds that you bought at the same time. So that's kind of, I guess, where that comes from. I'm not exactly sure, but I kind of decided to go with like a more colorful, probably little girl's room, and then I guess this would be like a teen boy's room. I usually don't like to assign like genders to my bedrooms, but yeah, I guess that's probably what it would be. This is the only bathroom that I show, I think, in this video. They all kind of turned out really similar. I kept with the green or the blue tile. I guess I show this one as well. So now for the outside, I know a lot of other people actually do the windows before building like doing any of the inside really, but I do like to do a little bit of the decoration before I put the windows. I just find that it kind of helps me place everything correctly, and I think that if I have the windows there before I decorate anything, then I tend to decorate around the windows. Whereas I'm like, the whole point of Sims is that you can do what you want. So I'm like, I might as well just decorate first and then put the windows second. So that's usually what I do, is I like do the rooms, do a little bit of decoration, then go through for the windows and kind of put them where I think they work. Yeah, because you know, you don't want like a giant floor to ceiling window in like a bathroom right by the shower. So just going around finishing up all the windows. I think they turned out really good and really symmetrical this time. Sometimes because of the method that I use, they turned out kind of wonky, but I think they did really well this time. So now I'm kind of getting into a little bit of more detailed decoration. As you can see, I just did the little shrinking cheat, or I guess it's not a cheat, but the whole left bracket makes it smaller thing, which came out in the most recent patch, and I'm so happy about it because there are so many things that I wish that they would just be a little bit smaller so I can use them to decorate, and now that's finally available. It makes me super happy. I kind of went with like a little bit of a red theme for this. I usually don't use red. I'm more of like a cool color person, as you can see with my like blue, gray walls and like purple and green, all that kind of stuff. But I like the red there. I really, really like how this dining room turned out. This is kind of more, I guess, more modern than the rest of the home. But I think it turned out really pretty. And that flower, I'm so glad I was able to shrink that flower because I always like to use it, but it's usually too big and it only goes on the floor, and if you put it on a table, it would be huge. So I'm really happy that I'm able to shrink it now because it turned out so pretty. I'm like going through some of those dividers right now. I really wish that I could have used some dividers in this build. I usually like to use them for a dining area. If I don't have like a separate room for the dining room, I do like to do like the wall dividers. I think it looks really cool, but obviously I didn't really have room for that in this build. More of a traditional style house, but I think definitely for my next build I'm gonna do something more modern, a little bit more of like a big scale, just to kind of show you what I'm made of, because I have built a few really cool like ultra modern giant like houses, and I really want to do that again. So hopefully that will be coming in the future. But as you can see, I'm still kind of like going with the red a little bit. Like I literally never used red before this build, but I liked the little like bowl of apples. I thought that was cute. And then I'm just kind of filling in, picking all the plants, all that kind of stuff. I really sometimes am at a loss for what I should put in the corners of rooms. It's like the hardest part to decorate, in my opinion, because I like to do this potted, like I guess it's not a pot, but this like palm tree thing. I think I mentioned in my last video that my parents had one in their room while I was growing up, and it always just feels like a very homey thing to have in a room, so I usually do that, even if I have multiple of them in the same room. I just think it looks really good. And I love these new rugs that came with the vampire pack. I guess it's not really new anymore, but I just really love it. And this rug, I never had used it before because I just think the white with the gray is kind of ugly. So I was really surprised to find out that it had a bunch of cool colors, like really pretty colors. Yeah, here I'm just doing the decoration on the office, just kind of filling in all the clutter. I really wish that they had more book options actually for like clutter. I know they do have like 3 or 4 different options for like stacks of books, but I find that it still is not ever really exactly what I want. So, I mean, actually I haven't really checked out too many of the new decorations from Pets yet, so maybe they have a couple new ones. Yeah, I'm really, really happy. This was I think I mentioned this earlier, this is my build like right, I meant it to be like my before, like my pre-Pets build, and I actually am now editing this and recording it after Pets has come out, and I did the whole like outside after Pets had already come out and I had already downloaded it. So it was so hard to like not look at that and not use it, because I think like I mentioned in my last video, I'm pretty much like a rule follower, and I'm like, if it had not come out yet when I meant this video to be done, I'm gonna like strictly not use Pets. So that was really difficult because there were a few really cute things that I'm really excited to like play with in my next build. But yeah, I really like how this living room is coming together. I think it's just looking really like homey and comfortable. I really like this kind of like patchwork rug, and I love now that we have that feature where you can shrink things. I really love this rug, but I hardly ever get to use it because it's always way too big. I finally am able to use it, so I know definitely in the future you will see it as a desk rug or maybe like an under bed rug in many of my builds. Yeah, so I'm just kind of fiddling around with the arrangement of stuff here. I'm using a few things that I don't usually use in this build, like the plant on the table right there, the plant in the corner. I just am really trying to like get used to actually using more decorations that are available. I feel like I kind of have gotten into a rut a little bit with like, these are the decorations I like to use, and I kind of just don't stray from them. So I'm straying a little bit more in this build. Like these stools I don't think I've ever used before, but they're really cool, and they're not like so modern that it looks weird with the kitchen. So yeah, I just am trying to challenge myself a little bit more. If I'm gonna be on YouTube, I have to be cutting edge. So I really just trying to be more original and be more challenging to myself. But I still just love like this homey look. I'm so happy. I was so happy when Parenthood came out because it had all these like homey things, like the dish rack and like the magazine holder thing. I just love stuff like that so much. It just adds such like a really nice feel to a build. And the shrinking things, oh my god, seriously, this is like my favorite new feature. There are so many things that I really wish, or that I wished I could use because they were too small, and I've used so many of them in this build so far. So now I'm back up to the bedroom, going in with that like second layer of decoration. I really like having like different styles throughout the house because I feel like that is more realistic. Like, you know, even if the living room is, or even if some room is decorated like kind of more like classic and homey, I really like the more modern look of this room because I feel like that is kind of how you would decorate, you know, like you're not going to have the same exact style throughout your entire house, or at least I'm not. I know a lot of people like to like buy sets from stores, but I kind of just tend to buy what I like at a thrift store and bring it home and hope it matches the rest of my house. And I feel like that's kind of how I build a little bit too. It's just kind of like quirky a little bit. So here I'm just kind of finishing up the clutter on here. I did the wall lights, which I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've literally ever done lights on the walls before. I see it in a lot of other people's builds, but I don't know, I just tend to use like ceiling lights only, so I'm trying to also use more lamps in this build. I just want to keep it realistic, you know. If you watch my previous video, you know I'm working on trying to keep it more realistic. That's what The Sims is about, you know. It's supposed to be like simulation of real life, so that's really my goal. But I'll shut up about that now. I really like how colorful this room turned out. I feel like the kid who would live in this room would grow up to be like an artist or something. Hopefully, that would be really cool. And I like to think that dresser, the blue dresser, is like hand painted by the kid, because that would be really sweet. Growing up, I had a bookcase that my mom painted, like she did like a little stencil painting on it when she was pregnant with me, and that was always really meaningful to me. So I like to put little like meaningful touches like that in my builds. And this little section right here with the two matching tables, I like to think that like the mom, when decorating, was like, we're gonna have a fancy section right here by the door leading out to the balcony. Like, I want to have a nice symmetrical fancy area. So now I'm going back into the bedroom, the master bedroom. I really like these little like candle things. I think those are really cute. I'm finding that it's really hard to narrate this when the way that I build is so like just not room to room. Like, I could talk about one single room for a few minutes, but I keep just jumping around and I never realized that that is how I build. But apparently it is, and I'm gonna have to try to change that. I already noticed in my last video that I did kind of a lot of like camera rotating that was not necessary, so I tried to keep that to a minimum on this one. I definitely did have to edit out a lot of like camera rotations, and I tend to kind of just adjust the camera a little bit, but like that's not necessary and it makes it a lot harder to watch these videos. So I really try to stop doing that in this video, and hopefully I'll get better at it. I think I did a good job. Times when I wanted to rotate the camera, I just refrained. But yeah, now I'm going around putting in all the wall hangings, paintings, and that kind of stuff, which I feel really gives a home a sense of, or a build a sense of completion and kind of sense of being like more lived in. I've never used like window boxes like this before, and I think it looks so cute. I'm so happy I did this. Now I'm going up to the attic. I have built a couple attics before, but I tend to kind of just leave them empty. But this time I wanted to like actually do stuff with the attic. I kind of wanted to make it I feel like I keep saying, like, I want to keep it realistic, but really that is my goal. So I was like, I'll have a little reading area that maybe, like, you know, mom needs to escape and she goes up to her little reading nook, or this little desk area that, you know, like, maybe if someone wants just a little bit of more secluded workspace, they would go up to the attic. And then what I love to do with attics or basements a lot of the time is to actually make them really realistic and have just a bunch of junk everywhere, which has become a lot easier to decorate now that I know the move objects cheat, because I can really like pile up the junk. Like I put all these papers in the middle and all the, you know, camping supplies, this kind of weird table that doesn't really fit the rest of the house, so I feel like they would have put it up in the attic, like we don't really want it in the house, but still don't want to get rid of it kind of thing. And I like to have just like a random lamp, you know, just like stuff everywhere, the way like an actual attic would be. So that's kind of where I went with this. I meant to put like a couple just random rugs, but I think I forgot. You know, just like random mirror just sitting there. So yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole outside. I think this turned out really pretty. I wanted to kind of just, you know, keep it simple, do a couple little bushes, a couple shrubs I think I did along the front. Yeah, just kind of keep it simple, keep it cute. I was gonna do shrubs bordering the whole thing, but then there was an issue with like the like sizing. I tried to like fix it, but it turns out I built the house to where like there was not enough room, like it wasn't completely centered and there wasn't enough room on either side for bushes, so I just scrapped that. And then I originally was thinking of doing a pool here. I actually did build it. I just cut it out of the video because I felt that that was not necessary to show you guys. But yeah, I ended up going with this like kind of fountain thing. I don't know. I feel like I like grew up in California where everybody's backyards were like really, I guess like kid friendly. You know, like everyone had tree houses or like play sets and stuff like that. But I have been living in Massachusetts now for a few years, and I found that sometimes like the backyards are like not as like accessible, oddly. And I kind of wanted to do that, so I kind of just did like a fountain with a lot of flowers around, and I feel like that looks really good actually. It's like not as, I guess it doesn't really fit as much with the whole like family vibe of the house, but I do really like it. I think it, I just think it's pretty, and like when I actually play The Sims, I like don't really use a backyard anyway, so I'm like might as well just like make it something like pretty, that's not really like the most usable, because like whatever, it doesn't need to be super usable. Like they're not real people, so. And I like this like really pretty, just like red shrubs around the fountain thing. I feel like if I lived here, I would go like sit on the fountain, you know, on like a nice summer day. I would go like just sit and be with all the flowers. And I really do love having the move objects cheat so much, because I love having this like overgrown look with the landscaping a lot of the time. As you can see, I had a very hard time picking which tree, and I ended up just going with the first one I picked. Yeah, this like kind of like shrub border, I guess, did actually feel kind of limiting. I'm kind of, I don't know, I kind of like it, but it's not exactly what I like really wanted. I don't know, I feel like this whole build is kind of like, it is pretty, but I don't know, I just have done so many like family homes lately, like even before I started doing YouTube, that I feel like I just need to get away from that and do a couple like different like weird builds before I come back to doing like family homes, because I feel like I'm just starting to kind of brain fart, you know, and like be less creative. So I feel like I just need to switch it up. But I do like this little like outdoor seating area. There's this one like drink tray that I was not able to find. I feel like I could have just searched drink tray and it would have come up, but I could not find it. I'm searching for it here still. I think I ended up just, yeah, I just put the like book thing up there, but really wish I could have found that. It's always hard to choose which outdoor furniture for me. I don't know why. I just always like, they have those like pretty couches, but I feel like those are so, I don't know, just lame a little bit. Like, they're kind of cool, but I like to put them around a pool, but I don't like to really put them like on a porch. So that was a little challenge. Yeah, but I just wanted to, keep it realistic, like I've been saying. And since I did the little planters by the windows, I figured I would do these little flower boxes too. Because I feel like, if you lived here, you wouldn't be out on that front porch very often. So yeah, this is the finished build. Here are the screenshots. I think it turned out really, really pretty. I definitely do want to switch up my style for my next build, but this house is really pretty, and I really just like the way it looks, and I can imagine such just like a sweet family living here. So I think it turned out really nice. Please like, subscribe, comment, follow, all that stuff. I don't really know, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.